Hello people, and welcome back to this week's episode of HerPod. I'm your host, Lexy McDonald, and this is Millie, my little sidekick today that I've kidnapped.
HerPod. Let's do life together.
Oh, hello. Oh my goodness. I feel like so much has happened this week. We have been to space. We have been to Coachella. And when I say we, none of those things I did. But it has been all over my For You page, all over my TikTok. Also, I'm not strangling my dog if you're watching the video. She is just resting on my little arm. She's so cute. This is Millie. She is a Boston Terrier. She's our little rescue dog. She had lots of babies, and then we got to take her home and rescue her and make sure that she's safe and happy and well. Like, honestly, when we got Millie, she didn't know how to sit. She was 3 and she didn't know how to sit. She wasn't potty trained. She just didn't know anything, did you? You were just a breeding girl, and now you're just a sweet baby. What are you doing? You're trying to snuggle in to my knees. Okay. Snuggling. Okay. Anyway, I've got a little sidekick today who's just going to hang out with me. But hello, welcome back to this week's episode of HerPod. I have watched the space thing. Did anyone else watch that last night? I watched it, and I think 2,000 other people were watching the live stream when I did. It's definitely like creeped up in views now. Like, I've Googled it again and like 100,000 people have watched the video, and I'm like, okay, good. Like, I'm glad, because I was like, why am I like cutting edge of this like random like YouTube live that I'm watching of this space thing? But I was watching something else, and I was sat up working last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like at 9:30 my time is like when the spaceship like flies off and goes. I was like, I have to watch it. So I turned the channel, and listening to like the talk of it all and like the preamp and getting them all ready, and then like seeing the Kardashians there, like Kris Jenner was there and Khloe Kardashian was there and all of their families, and like it was just so wild. And like watching like the countdown going 3, 2, 1, and then like watching them like take off. Like, I held my breath for about 10 minutes, because you remember that when that rocket like flew up into the sky and then it exploded or something. I didn't watch that live, but I've heard lots of people talk about it and be like, that was like the most intense thing ever, and like all these people were watching this rocket take off with all these astronauts in it, and then they exploded because it doesn't look very safe. Like, I'm scared of airplanes. Imagine, anyway, terrifying. And I was just like holding my breath the whole time, being like, I hope that they're going to be okay. I hope they're going to be okay. And then like watching them like land, if you like watch the video, they're in this like little pod thing. And then like the pod had these like, what do you call them? Parachutes. And then like the pod like parachuted down. Anyway, it was so interesting. And I sat there watching, and then they came out and did their like interviews. I don't know why I'm giving you a play-by-play of the YouTube video, the YouTube live I watched about the space thing. But like, it just felt, I don't know. And there's been so many people that have like different opinions on it and have had different things to say. And I completely understand that like people like they didn't even do anything. Like, they literally just sat up in space, and all these people are, you know, it's this rich thing and blah, blah. And I understand all of that too. And I can definitely see that perspective. But I think for like, it was the first all-female crew, and like, I don't know, it just felt special. And as much as it's like, okay, whatever, it's space, like there's bigger issues to fry, I understand that. And this like space war and these billionaires putting all this money into space, like, I don't understand it, but like I also think that it is cool that, I don't know, I liked all the messaging around it and the empowerment undertone. And like this morning, so basically when you watch the live, like they obviously had heaps of cameras in the little pod they were in, but they couldn't be streamed out. So how did they stream on the moon? I don't know. If they can't stream in the like 50 years later in the rocket, how did they live stream from the moon? I'm still confused about it. but they couldn't, like, so they had all these cameras in, but they couldn't live stream the cameras, so they filmed it. And then when the pod landed, and this morning I woke up to see like the footage of them actually in the little pod, but you could just see them take off and land, and there was a bit of audio that was like cutting in and out of them. But this morning, like waking up and seeing that like the girls all like gathered together and were like, take up space, and like I don't know, I think I'm starting my period, because when I first, I'm about to start my period, because when I first listened to that, I like got a little bit teary, and I was like, oh, it's just, I don't know, it feels it feels like, I don't know, I think it's cool to celebrate things that women can do just as much as men, because 30 years ago that wouldn't have ever been an option, that like a whole rocket full of women could go up to space and back. And like, I don't know, I think it's really cool. And the astronauts and the people, there was people on board that like, Katy Perry was on board, and but there was also like people that that was her dream, was to be an astronaut and to go to space, and she did it. And I don't know, it was very moving to watch the interviews after of them all getting off the rocket and talking about like how much this meant to them. And some of them were a little bit like a photo op or like a PR move, and I understand some of the things that people were saying were a little bit intense, but like there was also some really genuine ones. Like one of the girls was like, my biggest dream was to go to space, and that just never felt like a reality. But like now, dreams, something about like, sometimes dreams defy reality or something. And, I don't know, it was like, that's very sweet. And seeing how much that meant to them in just a short time, and like how emotional they were. And I can't even imagine how scary that would be. Like, honestly, like how you would build it yourself up. Like you'd make sure that your wheels checked off. Like you'd make sure that you've got everything sorted, because I would just be fucking shit scared that like that plane was going to blow up. And I think there must be some very high regulations of like, sign your life away, like make sure your will's in order, say goodbye to your friends and family. So the relief of like being able to do it and then like coming back and being like, holy fuck, like we did it, must be like the wildest feeling. So I don't know, I understand that it's not this huge momentum, like feminist, like crazy moment, but I also think that there is really beautiful like specks of that felt really beautiful. I understand why people are like, oh, whatever, like it's a billionaire thing to do. But on the other side, like, I don't know, you wouldn't get a group of men in a rocket that, well, you would, but you wouldn't get a group of men in a rocket that kind of all gather around in a circle in their little 2 minutes they have in space and hold hands and like shout, like, take up space, like, be you. Like, I don't know, that it gives me goosebumps every time I think that like it's special. And yeah, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really special. So yeah. And then I was chatting to all my friends being like, would you do that? And one of my friends was like, do you even fucking know me at all? Like everything I do in life is for the plot. And I'm like, oh yeah, you would. But like, I want to know, send me a DM later, like while we're chatting about this, like, would you go to space? Because then this was like the thing that played in my head. Because like before watching it, I was like, there's no fucking way you'd ever get me to go to space. Like that, like the idea of like the rocket going up and then watching like my family watch me like burn into a million pieces would be terrifying, obviously, but I'm like, I don't know if I could do it. And then watching them come back and then they're like interviews after and then being like, that literally changed my whole life, like that was the coolest thing I've ever done. Really, I was like, oh, maybe I would. maybe I would. That looked like like the impact that had on their life, and like them saying how important that's been to their life and how grateful they are for the opportunity. I don't know, it was very, very cool. So maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. Also, sorry, for you, if you're watching the video, I keep playing with my hair, and it's been something that I've noticed throughout the videos. I'm like, while I'm listening to myself on the podcast, I'm watching myself, I'm like, playing with your hair is so annoying. So I've realized it's because I've got very thin hair, and I saw this little gadget on TikTok. It's like meant to be this volumizer. It's like a crimper, and you like crimp it to your hair. And I was like, perfect. For the audio listeners, it's like a straightener looking thing, but instead of like the straightener iron plate things, it's got like these checkered print, like kind of like a crimper print. And then you're meant to like press down on your hair, like on the bottom layers of your hair, and like it's meant to add volume. Anyway, the plug, I don't know what plug this is. I'm assuming it's a US plug, but I got it and I went to put this in because I got this last week in the mail from Amazon, and I went to plug it in and I was like, oh, it's definitely not an Australian plug. So I don't know what plug this is, but I'm going to have to get an adapter to even try it. That's so funny. I literally didn't even think about ordering it. I'm not an online shopper. This is my issue. I'm like, I don't think like, oh, don't order that because it's going to be like, honestly, I'm like, I'm just like new to life. Like there's some things that I'm like, yeah, like let's talk about like what kind of company you want. Like, do you want a not-for-profit? Do you want like a publicly listed company? Like, how do you, like, I'm fully onto like that. But then I'm like, oh, I forgot to order my straightener with an Australian plug. Like, honestly, the world I live in's fucked. I just am in such my own little world. Anyway, speaking of my own little world, okay, everyone in my DMs, everyone in my comments is telling me I need to watch, what is it? Why can't I ever... The Netflix series with the adolescents. Sorry, I don't know why I can never say that. Adolescents, the Netflix show. Everyone's like, come on, Lexy, you've got to watch it. Like, we know you'll love it. I cannot bring myself to watch it to save my life. I watched the Gogglebox episode of it where they kind of like show, where like people watch TV and kind of show. I think I said that last week. And I watched it and I watched like the glimpse of it and I was like, I cannot watch this yet. I still am not in the mood where I'm like, oh, I'd love to watch someone this like dark. I'm just not a dark media kind of person. Like, I'm definitely a like light and fluffy and I just can't bring myself to watch it. I'm like listening to the TikToks about it and like taking away the messages and think that it's such an important message, but I just can't bring myself to watch it. I'm so sorry. So instead, I'm procrastinating and I was like, what can I procrastinate? Like, what is it that I can do with my time so that they appreciate so that I can just convince myself that it's okay that I'm not watching it for the HerFam because I just can't do it. So I was like, what am I going to watch instead? So I started watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I know I'm like a year late to this trend. I feel like they would like, I think they're already in the midst or like finishing season 2 is like, I'm already just like, oh, I've just seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I did start watching it when it first came out. Like, I remember watching the first episode and I was like, I can't get around it. I don't know why. It just felt, I don't know. It just, you've got to get into, I feel like I need to get into a series. Like, I can't just watch the first episode usually and be like, wow, I'm hooked. Like, it kind of takes a bit. And because like it's more of like a documentary style, but there's like interviews and it was kind of like this weird format to get my head around because they were having conversations, but like it was clear that they'd had it set up. And I was like, oh, this feels strange and I couldn't really get my head around it. But like once I kind of just like eased into it and just kind of like took it for what it was and honestly just had it in the background, like it wasn't something that I was just sat dedicated and watching. It was something that I was working on and like while I was doing emails or while I was doing things that didn't really require sound, I was like sat there working on it and I found I much more enjoyed it like that. It's kind of like just an easy watch, like you don't have to be paying a lot of attention. But oh my God, I find reality TV so interesting because it's a way for me to like analyze relationships. Does anyone else feel like that? Like on all reality dating shows like Love Island, Married at First Sight, like The Bachelor, like seeing how people interact and like their healthy and not so healthy relationship styles. And like, I don't know, like I find it so interesting to see how people live their lives and like being able to like point out red flags and like see things. But I've written down their names because like Taylor, if like, I don't know if you will know who these are, it's like that gone, but Taylor married this guy named Dakota who's like this blonde guy, and like basically if you haven't seen the show you're not missing too much, but Mormon is like about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, so it's about this like Mormon religion and like the women within the Mormon religion and like maybe going against certain grains of things. And like it's based in Utah, which is like a state in America that's very religious, very Mormon orientated. And it's like growing up and it's about like women maybe challenging some of the things that are rules within like the Mormon church. And I am enjoying it. I think there's definitely, so Mormon religion, like as a baseline, there's lots of rules. It's a religion that has lots of rules. So you can't drink alcohol, you can't have coffee, you can't show your knees, you can't show your shoulders, and there's like other things, but like it's quite an intense religion. Like obviously no sex before marriage, and lots of the Mormon like people within the Mormon faith get married very young and have children quite young, and their kind of role is to, I think women's role in a Mormon religion is to kind of get married and have children and like be a mother, I think is kind of the end goal of that. And I've actually been to a Mormon church. So one of my best friends, used to be one of my best friends from high school, she was Mormon, or her family were Mormon. She's no longer Mormon, but her family were Mormon. So if I wanted to have a sleepover with her on a Saturday night, I'd have to go to church with her on Sunday morning. And it would start, I remember it being so long, like it would start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd have like a service, and then after the service we'd have Sunday school, and then, which was like all of the young people would come together and like do a school, like would learn about the religion. And I remember enjoying that class because I would get a chocolate because I was a new member, and I really appreciated that. Honestly, I'm so food motivated. Like if you can be like, come on, like when I used to work in retail, like if they're like, Lexy, you need to meet this target, you've got to do this thing. They'd be like, if you can sell fucking 12 lotions today, I'll buy you a Vegemite scroll, which is like the most delicious, like, and I'm like, done, like, anything, like I'll push. And I would always, like, I'm very like, buy me a $2 little bread scroll thing, like I will make sure I've hit every target. So I remember enjoying Sunday school because I got a chocolate which is one of my only memories. I can't remember what we learned. I remember the room, but I can't remember much about it. But that went for an hour or so, and then they went on to like young women's, which is like young women, like teenage women that kind of went to class, and then you learned, they like separated the boys and girls and they taught different things. And I think I would have loved to go back to that class now, like being like a woman and like having this idea of like women empowerment, and like my whole business is around like empowering women to do whatever they want. And if that's like being a mom, or if that's, you know, going out and being an entrepreneur, like those two things can, you know, like they can do whatever the fuck they want, like powerful, like women, like it doesn't just have to like, you know, come to the traditional means of what a woman used to be. Like she can be whatever she wants, and if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, like incredible. But if she doesn't, like she can do whatever the fuck she wants, but both are equally as powerful and both matter. I don't think one's any less than the other. I think fucking, if anything, being a stay-at-home mum is one of the hardest fucking jobs ever, and something that, you know, I'm nervous to do one day, or I'm nervous to be a mum in general. I saw something on TikTok, side note, that was like, my greatest fears in life is like, the first one is being infertile and the second one's being pregnant, which is like so the vibe I'm at the moment. I'm like, it would terrify me to be a mum. And it blows my, like, I'm 23, and it's like everyone in my small town, almost everyone has a child. Like if I can list off like my class, and if we can put like the yearbook on the screen, I was going to put the yearbook on the screen. I'm not going to do that. Like to like anyone, I don't think anyone from my high school is watching this, but if they are, imagine if I just put all of our school photos on the, no, I don't think anyone needs to see mine, let alone everyone else's embarrassing like school photo. But if we like listed off, like I reckon over half, probably more, would have a child. And some of them have 2 children. Most of them have houses. Like I'm from a small town, so it's very much like that's the thing you do. Like similar, we don't have the same, like it's not a very Mormon culture, but I think a small town culture is that like you meet quite young and you settle down and you get a job and you like go off and live your life. I think I can relate to little parts of that. And like being a part of being a part of a Mormon church. I was not a part of a Mormon church, but I went a few times, and then like my friends were Mormon, so I was like exposed to the Mormon religion, maybe more so than other people have, and like seeing how they live their life, and then the pressures, and like it's intense. And then going and seeing the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and kind of watching the dynamics at play. Like I think religion as a whole, like I don't know, I'm not going to get me. Let's talk about religion, and like, it's a controversial topic, but I like, honestly, I'm not a very religious person just because I've never grown up in a religious family. So I guess I haven't had like a faith to follow, or someone to guide me in a direction of like what faith I should have or shouldn't have. I think people, like for the more Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, like pretty much all of them, there's maybe one that wasn't raised Mormon, like her parents weren't Mormon, but a lot of the time a churchy family is like how you become a part of the church, is usually like you're born that way. So I guess for me, like I never went to church, or like, and like little things, like if my cousin went to a Catholic school, so like we went to Holy Communion and like did these things. Like I definitely have been to church and been exposed to things, and I'm very open-minded about different things. And I had this conversation with one of my friends the other day about, because he's quite religious and he kind of found it later in life, and he was like, so what is it that you believe? Like why don't you have a religion or a belief? And I said, it would be crazy for me to say that there's like nothing, like whether it's the universe, whether it's God, whether it's, my granddads that are no longer with us, like looking down on us. I think over, centuries and in every single continent, even when we weren't connected, like there's always been people that like, there's always a sense of religion or a sense of faith, and people, in different countries, whether that's Asia or India, or like they make their own views of like what it is and make sense of whatever this faith or this higher power is. And I think it would be really naive to be like, oh, well, there must not be anything, when, for thousands of years and millions of people all kind of believe that there is something. Like it would be naive to be like, oh, I just don't think there's anything. But at the same time, I don't know, it's nice to think, and it would be, it's nice and secure. It's a nice feeling to think that there is, someone looking down on you and the things that you're doing. There's a higher purpose or power to, I don't know. I'm very open-minded, and I'm very keen to hear from everyone's perspective. And like, I have obviously my Mormon friends, or like my Christian friends, or I have, friends that believe all sorts of things, whether it's the universe, whether it's different religions altogether. Like I'm really keen to sit down and chat with them and be like, tell me what you, but like, and there's no judgment. Like I genuinely am so interested, and I'm not closed off to any of it. Like, I don't know. No one really knows. Like you can go with the best of your abilities and you can wholeheartedly believe in something, but I don't know. I can't be like, oh no, you're wrong. Like I don't know. It's nice to hear all different sides of religion, and kind of having beliefs is a really beautiful thing. The thing that I struggle with in religion is sometimes I think there's like a scale, isn't there? And like when we're talking about like Ruby Frankie, and we kind of chatted about that a few weeks ago when I watched that documentary of like religion is a scale, and I think the purpose of it, and it is such a beautiful thing, and provides people with hope and guidance and faith and community, and religion as a whole can be a really beautiful thing. But I think there's a scale, and I think if you're up to the like Ruby Frankie end of things, where you're that far into a religion that it kind of, then you join a cult because you're easily persuaded because you believe these things, so why can't these things be true as well? And they talked like that's coming from the documentary is what they were saying. And then the extreme is that you believe that your child's a devil, and that you're not feeding it, and that you're ultimately killing these children because you are so far in. Like that's such an extreme version, but like I don't agree with that, like obviously level of religion. And also when it starts to hurt people, I think religion is like ultimately like meant to be peaceful and happy and providing good to others, and I think that's a really beautiful thing to believe, and have having those values I think are really important. But I think when you start getting into like parents like neglecting their child because they come out as gay, and saying, well, you've got to move out of the house at 14 because you can't be under our roof, like I think that, like I don't think on the scale, I don't agree with that level of things. And when I'm watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which I get back to, is like, I think Mormon religion, whatever, believe whatever you want to believe, religion, amazing. Like there's so many of the Her fam that have these beliefs, and I think they're really beautiful. And I've chatted with you guys on the street about this, and I respect and fully, I want to learn things. Like I guess I'm from a position where I hadn't been really exposed to religion as much as so many others. So like I'm so open-minded. I want to understand and want to learn all these things, but watching like different dynamics at play also, like I don't know, like it's this weird world of like I'm so open-minded to learn everything about religion stands there. But I think in an ecosystem of religion, when it's like a intense religion like a Mormon religion, like the gender roles and the idea that like the men are kind of in power, like that's not something that I love, like, and watching like the women really struggle with that power dynamic and that sense of control and power that the men seem to have over their wives is like not great. I don't really love that. And I know that's not religion. I know that that's just being in a high-end Mormon religion and being high up in the church and those kind of values that religion holds. Like, I understand that, but I just don't love it. It's just not great. I don't love the control, and watching these girls really struggle with like what their husbands let them do when like they're like 22-year-old men, like they're boys. Like, there's these boys that are sat there being like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and don't go to the strip club, or like text me when you, and like there's so many of them that are like lovely and great, but there's also a few in there that like, the girls sit there and be like, oh well, this is just more like, that's just, he's a typical Mormon man, like he controls the house and he does these things. And I'm like, oh, I love the essence of the show, that the women are like stepping outside and they're challenging those, roles that they've kind of been born into, and are like, well, like, why can't we, do these things, or why can't we have these opportunities and do these things? And I know it's interesting, but it does ick me out that there's these like little tiny 20-something-year-old men that have these huge, like, weird ideas of power and stuff. I just find it very strange. And that's kind of the environment and the thing that they promote in the Mormon church, in that kind of environment. I don't know. It feels, Look, sorry, I'm watching my timer on my camera. I'm like, is it going to run out of charge? But we're fine. Sorry, that's why the last little bit was a bit hectic. Me being like, is this going to... Anyway, so like fostering that like toxic masculinity in that kind of environment, I don't love. But like, especially with Taylor's partner, Dakota, like the things that he was saying and the things that she was saying, I was like, oh, it's like cookie cutter, like abusive relationship, and maybe not physically abusive, but like definitely controlling and mentally abusive, and like a really terrible situation to be in. And like so like, for an example, if you have like, I was gonna say, if you haven't, this is a spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler, but like the girls go to a strip club in like Vegas for one of the girls' birthdays, something. I don't know. They needed to get away. I can't remember why they were there. A wedding present, can't remember. And they all went to Script, and it was a surprise, and the girls had planned it all and like surprised all these other girls. And there was lots of them were like, whoa, like this is so fun, like whatever, like let my hair down. And then there was like a few that's like, one of the girls in particular, Taylor, like she started literally shaking, and you could see how like physically uncomfortable she was. And it wasn't the fact that she was there that was the issue. Like, yes, not everyone loves a strip club. Like, I might be a little bit like, oh, like this isn't really like my vibe, but like whatever, like let's just like be here and like see what happens, like whatever, like it's probably not where I would choose to go, but like whatever, let's have a little bit of fun. But she was like visibly very distressed and uncomfortable and started shaking, and she was like, I shouldn't be here, like this is, what's he gonna say, and like she started fucking freaking out because of how her partner was gonna react to this. And I don't know, it's just like, and then he was ringing her being like, this is the relationship over, like I don't want to be married to you anymore. And you watch this thing unfold, and it was just so toxic and controlling. Like, it was a surprise. She didn't know she was going to be there. She didn't even go in. She literally like was there, had a breakdown, rang you, said, hey, I'm feeling really uncomfortable about this because I know you're not going to like this. And then went home, and then he was like, made this huge fucking scene, was saying, I'm going to take the kids, I'm going to get full custody, you're never going to be able to see your kids again, all these things, because she got surprised with a fucking trip to a strip club. And then it all kind of fizzled over, and she like left the house at 2 a.m. and they sat and chatted. It was this really uncomfortable conversation and whatever. And then she like distanced herself from her friends for a few days, and then kind of came back. And her reason was like, he just loves me so much. Like, I'm never going to find someone that just loves me as much as he does. And I'm like, ah! That's like, if you're listening to this and you've like heard stuff, like I've definitely made this excuse. Like, I was in a very toxic relationship, and like that kind of, I'm like, oh, he does that because it's just so much love. Like, there's so much emotion. Like, he's so protective over me. It's like, no, he's fucking controlling and abusive, and it's fucking crazy to sit there and watch that episode and like watch, and the girls were like, the girls around her were like, we don't accept that. We don't like him. He's very controlling. But at the same time, in the same breath, they were also saying, oh, well, he's also like, that's Mormon men for you. Like, a lot of them have these weird like dynamics, and there's a power dynamic, and there's a shift. And I was just like, ugh! Like, I don't love that. Like, I don't love that at all. And just like, yeah, watching like her have physical reactions to how stressed she was and the emotions and stuff, like crazy, like, yeah, threatening their marriage, like doing all these things, and just her being like, he just loves me so much. Like, that's what it is. He just loves me so much. And it's just like, like the fact that that's what, like a 22-year-old man that's doing those things, 23-year-old man, like, where the fuck's he look? Like, it's just like a fucking cycle, and it's scary. And yeah, let me know what you think. I know this probably was a huge conversation a year ago when everyone else watched the scene and had different things. And I know people were upset about it, because I remember watching that and I was like, holy fucking shit, I've got no one to talk about this with, because they've all seen it, probably forgotten that it's happened, or like, you know, it's not front of their mind. But I went on to, I think it was Taylor's Instagram, and she's pregnant again. And I'm like, with the same man. And I was like, you need to leave him. He's a fucking freak. Anyway, she's pregnant. And then the start of the comments like, oh my God, I'm so like happy for you, girl, like blah, blah, blah. And then like I scrolled down a little bit further, and then it was like, why are you with this man? He's so toxic. He's such an abusive, like that's a crazy, like the level of like control he has over you, and like go down and down. And I'm like, okay, okay, my people. Like I was like, I'm clearly, hopefully not the only person that's like flagged this, and like I'm not. So I don't know. It was so, if any of you have seen it, like let me know your thoughts and feelings. I don't know how I got into this big deep dive about religion as well, but I don't know. I'm really open-minded, I think, is the biggest thing. Like I know that I don't have the answer, and I'm like really keen. And I think it's really beautiful, like hearing how other people believe. And, you know, I've started to like with this like secret project that I keep saying that I have that may or may not happen. Like, you know, I'll sit there and be like, universe, God, granddad, everyone else. Like, I don't know who's up there, but I feel that there could be something up there. And I just, you know, would really love this thing to happen. Because I'm like, I don't know the answers. And but I appreciate that, you know, whatever. Honestly, this could get me cancelled. Because religion's obviously a very intense thing. And I hope that I'm not offended anyone by the things I'm saying. It's not coming from a place of me thinking that religion's bad. Like, I genuinely think it's the most beautiful thing. And, you know, although my family's not very religious, like there are definitely points where, like, you know, my granddad got diagnosed with dementia and, you know, slowly passed away from that. And, you know, I went to church with my nana. Like, nana would take us to church, and I'd ask to go at some points, and we'd sit there and she'd be there and she'd pray and she'd, you know, find hope. And I think, you know, if religion can give someone hope or purpose or, you know, a sense of belonging, or I don't know, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And I think that that's beautiful, and whatever way you find that, whether that's through a church, whether that's tarot card readings, or like whatever, like I think that feeling's the same, and that feeling of hope and purpose and power. And, you know, I don't think any of it's wrong. I think, you know, whatever, it's beautiful. And, you know, maybe one day we'll sit and chat and I'll have this whole idea of the exact path or religion or universe or whatever. You know, I'm just very open-minded at the second, just listening to what other people believe, which I hope people can understand and respect. Maybe it's my last episode, but yeah. Anyway, what else? So I watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which I found very interesting, and I am looking forward to season 2 now, so I'm like fully hooked on it. But the other thing I started watching was The Kardashians. Now, this is like, I've watched like little episodes of that. Everyone's like, why is this like an episode of like what Lexy's been watching on TV? Honestly, that's all the exciting things that's been happening in my life at the moment. Lots of emails, lots of things. But like, stick with me. Like, we're gonna, like, this is the weirdest episode ever. Me talking about space. Me talking about honestly. Anyway, trust me, this is like, I'm not going to dissect every episode of The Kardashians. That's not why I'm here. But I guess, like, in Australia, I don't know how you guys watch The Kardashians, if it's like streamed to you or if it's like a show, or like whether you pay for a subscription. But like here it's like on a subscription. It's like Disney Plus that you like. It's on Disney Plus. I'm sure it's on Disney Plus. I honestly don't know. But anyway, it's not as like culturally, like, I don't know a lot of people that will sit there and watch The Kardashians. But I think in America, like, it's a bigger show than it is in Australia. I think just because like Kardashians are famous everywhere, but I think like America's like the hub of Kardashianness. But like, it's been really interesting to go back to the start of the Kardashians, not like the keeping up. I don't know where that is or how. I think if I finish The Kardashians, I'll start watching the other one maybe. But anyway, I found it so interesting. Like, take it for what it is. Like, it's not like, obviously, these like earth-shatteringly like educational whatever. But I find it really interesting. And like, I'm at the episode where like Chloe's just been cheated or like found out that like Tristan was cheating on, like, what the fuck? I remember hearing rumors about like, or like hearing like start like headlines as it was kind of happening, but I didn't really pay much attention. But the fact that like, anyway, they got pregnant at the same time, like, oh, like the things that she's been through, and you see like at the moment, like Lamar, her ex-husband, who was like a very he had lots of drug addiction issues and like was really horrible to her, and you hear the stories about that. And then like, I don't know, like I think I really admire them all individually. I think that I can respect them all, and I don't know, I think as a Kardashian as a whole, and if you don't really watch the show or like get to know them on a deeper level, you're like, oh, Kardashians, like whatever. Like there's a stereotype around that family, and quite a big negative one around that. And like, not that I ever bought into it, but I'm like, oh, like the Kardashians are like who they are, and they've got these, toxic beauty standards, or they're blah, 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 like whatever. Like you kind of have a view of them. But like actually watching their show, like I've had to really like change my opinion on like, address these biases, and like they're literally just the most successful like family, and they're women. And they made a good point. It's like Jeff Bezos or like Steve Jobs like also have very successful companies, but they're not labeled with the same kind of shit that the Kardashians have. And I think like obviously watching them and like humanizing them a little bit and like seeing them in different situations has been really powerful. And I'm actually really inspired by all of them individually for different things. And like, I don't know, it's been cool to watch and understand. And I just think at the end of the day, like Kim Kardashian, like love her or hate her, whatever, like how fucking insane that like they started out as kind of like a normal family. And when I say like normal, like I understand that like the Kardashians' dad was, this great lawyer, and then Bruce Jenner, when Kris married them, like I understand that there's a higher profile than maybe your normal like me, like whatever family that's like whatever, but like to get to where the level they are like is insane. And understanding and like watching how business minded I think Kim is, especially like understanding where she needs to be and what she needs to say and where she needs to place herself, is like from like someone that has a business, like seeing how she like markets things and how she presents herself and how actually really fucking smart and clever she is like, and I always could see that she was this very educated, intelligent woman, but like actually watching her live her life and do her moves has been like, I don't know, it's very fucking cool. And then I popped up on YouTube of like the rise of like Kim Kardashian, like how she got to where she is, and like seeing all the fucking steps that she took to like get her to where she is. Because like, they were saying in the thing, like they're not singers, they're not actors, they've not got this platform that just like propels them, like all this crazy talent that gets them to where they are. Like it's genuinely been hard work and dedication and some really cool strategic moves along the way. And like the fact that she started, like she was working in different jobs, like Kris was a flight attendant, and then she ended up being Paris Hilton's assistant, and like there's slow stepping stones and being in different paparazzi shots with Paris. And then like I know it's just fascinating, like it's actually insane how just like a normal family, in quote, like they're not the most normal, I'm not saying that they're a working class level family, but a normal family to like end up to be where they fucking are today, and how the businesses they run and how successful, and the thoughtfulness around these campaigns and things. Like it's very interesting. I very much enjoyed it, honestly. Everyone's saying like, what the fuck? Why are you talking about Mormons? Why are you talking about the Kardashians? But it is really inspiring. And I just, I like all of the women, like all the Kardashians and Jenners, like they've done some really fucking awesome stuff. And you can understand that, there's obviously a lot of privilege that comes with that. Like once Kim kind of pushed them up to the level they are, like especially like Kendall and Kylie, like kind of growing up with the spotlight on them already. And, like you understand that there's levels of privilege there, but I think they work really fucking hard, and I respect them all. And I think seeing them move around and stuff as well is because I think before like actually watching the Kardashians, like I'd only seen like still photos of them or paparazzi photos or the photos they post on Instagram. And I think that's where they get their like toxic idea of like the beauty standard, and like they're all fucking stunning regardless. But it is nice to see them just move around life and just be a little bit more human and like see them at different angles, and they always look fucking stunning. I'm not saying that, but it just like, I don't know, it humanizes, because you look at a photo that's like obviously edited, or there's a bit of face tune, or there's a bit of some, you know, whatever. Like there's so many people that do that. I don't think anyone's hiding the fact that, you know, that fucking happens. But then kind of seeing them actually just as them, and them still being so beautiful, but like a bit of movement and expression, and like, I don't know, like it humanizes them and makes you go, okay, well, like they're not actually this like magazine cover thing all the time, which I think is obvious. Like it's obvious that not everyone looks like a magazine all the time, but if those are the only images that you're getting of someone, when it's like highly produced, there's lighting and cameras and makeup people, and there's like all those things, like, and not that, you know, there is that anyway, and I'm sure like how they look on the Kardashians, the show, obviously with lighting and makeup and hair and whatever, probably isn't what they look like on a Saturday night when they're just chilling at home with their kids. Like I get that there's still a level of production and still a level of, you know, high value and whatever, but like, yeah, I don't know, I'm appreciating it again for what it is, and I am, yeah, into it. Also, I have been looking at myself and I look really like dazed, and I'm not sure if anyone can see that, but my eyes feel like they're going to fall out of my brain. I've got this on my notes to address, and I don't know why I've gotten, half an hour in and I'm only just saying this. If my voice sounds weird, or like you can see like my eyes hanging out of my head, I have wisdom teeth. And I am really scared about the idea of getting them out. If someone is a girl, anyway, you don't have to be a girl. There's so many people that have wisdom teeth, but my girls, if you have had your wisdom teeth out, please send me messages of love and support and tell me that it's going to be okay, because I have, like, my wisdom teeth have been coming through for years. Like, I reckon for a good 2 years, I've started to feel like a little bit of like, you know, they're coming in and like, you can see them. Like, if I open my mouth and put a torch on, please tell me I'm not the only one that does that. If I open my mouth and put the torch on, I can see teeth, like I can see holes with teeth in it. And I'm like, oh, great. Like my wisdom teeth are coming through. And they've had no issue, like a little bit of pain, like whatever, like it's been fine. But this side of my mouth, as of like the last week, maybe not even the last few days, like I cannot even tell you the amount of pain that I'm in. Like yesterday I was sat on the couch with Dad, and Dad was like, why is one side of your face like so swollen? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, this side of your face is so swollen. And I was like, yeah, well, my mouth is so sore. So like the wisdom tooth is coming through, but it's like coming through like on my gum and not my gum, my cheek. And it's like coming through like on my cheek, and like my whole cheek has like these big like scabs, and like the whole thing just looks like a fucking war zone in my mouth, and it's fucked, and it hurts so much to eat and talk and chew. Anyway, so I'm like just like trying to just putting a bit of like numbing cream on it every now and then. It doesn't really do anything. Like just like, you know, even at Pilates, like resting my face on my cheek to do an exercise this morning, I was like, ow. So I just feel like really spacey, because it's like in your face, like, I don't know, like it's like an ear infection. Like I can have a sore toe and you just kind of like ignore the toe. You're like, whatever, like my toe's sore. It's not the end of the world. But when it's like in your face, whether it's like an ear infection or like there's something like in your mouth or like whatever, like a toothache, like it's so like in your head, and it's just so affects everything. I don't know, because obviously your brain, I was gonna say, I don't know why, like obviously your brain's there. So like it affects like everything, but like it's so fucking consuming that like there's this pain in my mouth. Anyway, whinge, let's get on to some like proper dilemmas. It's not me refusing to go to the dentist because I don't want to have surgery and get my teeth out, so I'm just going to whinge. Next week you'll probably see me with a huge hole in my cheek from where my tooth poured out. No, you won't. That's so dramatic. But yeah, it's fucking stop. a quick break in the episode to talk about something I know you're going to love. If you've ever dreamed of starting your own merch line, side hustle, or creating something totally you, Printify is your secret weapon. With Printify, you can design and create products without dealing with inventory, shipping, or upfront costs. Just upload your design, pick from hundreds of high quality products, and boom, your online store is ready to go. They handle the printing and shipping so you can focus on growing your brand. I personally have some merch samples on our way from HerHelp from Printify for HerHelp, which I'm so excited about and I can't wait for you to see. So head over to printify.com and sign up for free to start creating today. That's printify.com because your idea deserves to break into the world. Now back to the episode. Okay, dilemmas. Let's get on to some dilemmas. Also, before we get on to some dilemmas, if you watched last week's episode, you are an MVP. Like, clicks for you. Clicks for you. Sorry, this is a very, presenting, school workshop thing. Like, all the wrap-ups I do, if I go into a team and, do school, speaking, because a part of, being an entrepreneur or, doing something like that, they're like, come on, speak at schools, tell your story. And, always in the wrap-ups, they're clicks for Lexy. Anyway, sorry, clicks. So cringe, honestly. Just living in this world, just clearly I've not spoken to anyone today. Anyway, before I get on to, I'm literally got the dilemmas here, but I just wanted to say, if you've listened to last week's episode, thank you so much. I can't tell you how hot it was in that car. I thought car episodes so fun. I just think it's I spend so much of my time in my car. If you watch my TikToks, I'm in the car a lot, and I was it would be so fun to just film I don't know, the setup, this is literally just my bed, and I've got Vaseline down here and my straightener thing, and whatever, got my shirt over it. It's not a polished set. I don't ever want to come across as polished or we're just hanging out. I'm just me. I'm a little bit chaotic, I'm a little bit messy, but I was a car's fun. It just feels like a car chat, but I'm gonna have to wait till it gets a bit cooler because it was so hot. I was sweating. It was hot. I was listening to myself and I was watching myself go downhill. Even my lips started drying out. I was this is not a look. So if you watched that and you were looking at me, I'm so sorry. It was not the vibe. And I had my glasses on. I'd literally just come back from Pilates and I wasn't planning on filming there, but then mum was here working, so I couldn't really film here. Anyway, so it was a very last minute. I did it in the driveway. It was this random thing. So I just want to say, if you watched last week's episode, I love you so much. Anyway, let's get on to some dilemmas. So dilemma 1, I'm looking for a new TV show to binge. I can't find a new one for the life of me. I've tried watching Gossip Girl 100 times over. I've seen Pretty Little Things, Gossip Girl, OTH, 90210, and I loved them all. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a perfect dilemma for me, my TV show binging today. What shows do I like? I enjoyed The Running Point on Netflix. I actually really enjoyed that. It takes a second to get into, but it's Kate Hudson, and it's about a woman who owns a basketball, her family has a basketball thing. Anyway, I very much enjoyed that. What else is there? The Rabbi, what's that movie that came out? What's it called? The Hot Rabbi. What movie is that from? Netflix season. Why Nobody Wants This on Netflix. I enjoyed that. You've probably seen that. Obviously, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I enjoyed. It takes a second to get into, but we're there. Obviously, the Kardashians I'm watching as well. What else? Married at First Sight Australia, if you can watch that, I think that is fucking so good. More reality rather than your Pretty Little Liars. Gilmore Girls, have you seen Gilmore Girls? I haven't fully seen Gilmore Girls, but I watched it a lot when I was little. It used to be on after school a lot of the time, so I'd sit there and watch the episode at 4:00 or something as it came on, but I haven't as an adult really sat down and watched it all. So I'd like to do that because I know there's a lot of hype around Gilmore Girls. I love how I'm suggesting things for you that I haven't really seen. I think Gilmore Girls is in my head of one that I want to watch. What else is good? Obviously Friends. I can tell you fucking every episode of Friends. I adore Friends. But yeah, let me know what you go with. All right, am Am I the asshole for charging my sister rent? I'm 25 and I took my little sister, who's now 22, in a little over a year ago after my mum lost her house in a divorce. She's been living here since, as my mum ran off with a new boyfriend. I asked her to start paying $250 a month rent starting in September, and now my mum is blowing up at me. Am I the asshole? Obviously not. No, baby, you're not the asshole. Honestly, being 22 and still not paying. How long has she lived with you? 2 years. 2 years of not paying rent. She was 20 and now she's 22. No, you're not the asshole. And the fact that your mum's blowing up at you, like, you know you're not the asshole. You know you're not the asshole. If they can't respect that, your sister can go back live with your mum. You're like, babe, like, I've literally covered your costs of living for the past 2 years. Like, there's a point where it's like, okay, like, you're a grown up. You can legally drink. You've been able to legally drink in America for 2 years, like a year. Like, you can pay and contribute, because otherwise it's coming out of my pocket. You're obviously not the asshole. Okay, dilemma 2. My boyfriend broke up with me because he said he's having doubts about us but doesn't know why. Do you have any words of wisdom and input on this? Oh, firstly, I love you so much. That's just the fucking shittest thing ever. Like, breakups fucking suck so much, and when you're in the thick of it, you see no way out. Like, it's just awful. Like, it's fucked and it's awful, and the healing process is so slow, and it's literally grieving the loss of someone. Like, I say this all the time, but like, it's literally like grieving someone that's already fucking, like, it's someone that you love and you see every day, and then they're like not in your life at all, and you have to grieve like every day. You've got to grieve waking up and not seeing them. You've got to grieve not texting them. You've got to grieve when something shit happens and you don't message them. Like, you just fucking like have to alter your brain into, you know, the fact that they're literally dead in your life now. It sucks. So I just want to say, like, I'm with you. Like, I see you. Like, I don't envy the position you're in. And you know, we've all, like, so many of us have been there. If that helps in any way, like, I know how fucking shit it is. I think the thing, like, words of wisdom is it is actually going to get better. And that's something that I really struggled with, because I was like, I just don't feel that it's ever going to get better. And, you know, watching my friends like move on a month later, or like watching him get into a relationship a few weeks after our humongous long-term relationship breakup, it was like, why don't I feel like that? Like, why don't I feel that that's something that I can do? Like, I just feel so hurt and broken, and like, that's just not on the cards for me. And I think that that's okay. It doesn't have to be. I think, you know, understanding that it's going to fucking suck, and to heal at your own pace. And if, you know, you feel fine 2 weeks later, like, amazing. But like, if you don't, like me, and it took a month, like, I remember the year after we broke up, like on that anniversary of a breakup, like, I sat and cried, because I was like, fucking hell. Like, I thought I would be so over this by now. And this man still has thoughts in my head. Like, I still think about him sometimes. So yeah, I think it's normal to be a bit sad and shit, but like, it's a grieving process, and that takes time. And, you know, as I've said before, like, when you go to the shops and his fucking favorite soup's on special and you don't buy it, like, that's you healing. And you have to live that moment and go, oh, that's really shit. Like, you know, I would have bought that. But then the fucking fourth time you walk past the soup aisle, you won't even, like, you'll start to not even think about him, because you're like rewriting all of the things you did with him with like new memories. You go past, you know, you go to the park, you go do Christmas, like, there's all these things that you'll have to do again without him. And once you like get to that point, you'll start to like heal, because you're, I don't know. I hope that helps. All right, dilemma 3. Do I have the right to be annoyed? It's my birthday weekend, and I had plans with my sister to stay in a hotel. Her dog got sick last week and had to reach out and ask if we could cancel the holiday. It was refundable at this point. She said no, have faith in her. So I kept the hotel. Now it's the weekend and my sister doesn't feel comfortable leaving her dog. So I'm staying in the hotel by myself because I don't know what else to do, and seems silly to waste the reservation. I'm not annoyed her dog is sick, but obviously understandable, but I'm annoyed that I'm paying for an entire hotel myself. It seems pretty petty to ask her to pay half when she's not even staying here and her dog is sick, but I definitely would have done something else if I had known I would be by myself this weekend. I think it's the money that's the most annoying thing about it, but what would you do in this situation? I don't want to come across as cheap. Oh, this is hard. I would be like, obviously you'd be fucking disappointed. Like, if you even like, for you to be like, hey, like, should we cancel it? Like, and her being like, no, it's fine. And then the dog actually not being fine and like her, like it's so, I don't know, I don't think either, like I can understand like if my dog was not well and I had to cancel a trip, like, you know, as the dog at the start of the video, and there's one under my bed right now, like I love my dogs, like they're my world, they're my family, like, and I think that people like that. And I know you're not saying like they're not, like you're like, I totally get that the dog's sick, but then, you know, so I understand her perspective and like her dog being sick. I think a little bit more communication would be nice, but like if something's gone downhill or like whatever, like shit happens. But also like I know what it's like to fucking stay in a hotel room by yourself when you thought a friend was coming and you're like, oh great, like what the fuck am I meant to do here now? And then you just kind of sit there and go, oh, it's really weird being here by myself, and you sit up. I don't know. I think it's a shit thing, and now you're saying I'll go into the hotel and it will be really shit. Like, let's make the best of this, okay? I've been in hotel rooms by myself where I've expected a friend to come and they haven't, and then you sit there and you're like, oh, it would have been better if they were there. Like, okay, but like now that this is the situation that you're in and you're going to this hotel room for your birthday, let's make it fucking awesome. Like you go into it knowing that you're having a little hotel getaway by yourself. So how are we going to make this special? How are we going to make this like so fun? Have a look around the area. Like what is around? Like what are the things that you can do that maybe are different from like where you live? Like what are the fun things that you can do within the little area of the hotel? Like plan your little day. Like do you go to like get coffee from a nice coffee shop? Like is there like an art gallery or like a gym? Like do something fun, like go and, I don't know, gym's not fun, but like if there's a bar or like, I don't know, maybe don't go to the bar by yourself if you're on your birthday, if you don't feel safe doing that, but like, you know, find something to do that could be fun. Like go for a walk. Like is there something scenic that you can during the day, like go and have a walk around somewhere, like find something fun to do in the little hotel area. But also when you get to the hotel, like come on, have a bit of like, what can we do? Like let's have some fun. Let's like order some room service. Like what's your favorite thing? Or like Uber Eats something to your hotel room. Like does it have a bath? Like let's go to Lush or go to like Bath and Body Works or something and buy like a nice bath wash or a shower, like a bath bomb, and like make it this thing. Like pack a face mask, like find your favorite show and like rent your favorite show. Like make it fucking like a self-care pamper, like little mini getaway, self-care, like make it fun. Because I've, you know, had little hotel room stays like that and it has been the best. Like some of those are my favorite moments, is me like getting Taco Bell, because that's like something I don't have in my little small town. So I'll go get Taco Bell, like Uber Eats it, like run a bath, like put Love Island on the TV, like just chill the fuck out and just have like a you day. And like it's just, yeah, I think that's how you're gonna have to spend your birthday. And I want to see photos of like you having a full pamper thing. I don't want you to sit in that hotel room and be like, fuck, it would be better if someone else was here. Like make it your own, because it can be so fucking fun. Trust me. Okay, guys, we've made it to the end of this week's episode of HerPod. Thank you so much. If you've listened to the ramble, if you've listened through all of it and you still don't hate me after my religion chat, but I love you so much. I'm so glad you got to meet Millie. I was trying to get Buster, my other dog, up here as well. So maybe next week you get to see Buster as well. But also it's Easter. So if you celebrate Easter and you're spending it with your family or you're not, or whatever you're doing, I hope you have a happy and safe Easter or just weekend or whatever is happening in your world. Hug your family members, tell them that you love them. And yeah, I can't wait to see you next week. And I love you very, very, very much. Oh my God. Also, I didn't debrief on Coachella. Okay, hang on. What can we say? What can we say about, there's literally not much to say about Coachella. Coachella was this weekend. Honestly, I'm so chaotic. I was like, Coachella's not on my notes. But Coachella was this weekend. There'll also be weekend too. So next time we can do like a full proper Coachella debrief, maybe next episode. But at the moment, I feel like nothing exciting has really happened. Maybe I need to look into it more so I can come back with you with like all of the gossip on like all of the things that is happening. But like last year was fucking crazy. Like I remember Shawn Mendes and like Sabrina Carpenter were kind of seeing each other, and then Shawn Mendes was like hooking up with Camila Cabello like at Coachella, and then like later like Sabrina releases a song being like, what a coincidence, what a surprise, your phone just died, your car drove itself from LA to Athens, Palm Springs looks nice because by your side, damn it, she kind of looks like the girl you like. Anyway, that was drama and tea, because like, what the fuck? And like Sabrina was saying that when we were saying that. But like, I feel like nothing that crazy has happened this year. Maybe I need to look into it more. Let's hope that, I think Coachella weekend 1 is when all the celebrities and shit's there anyway. I think Coachella 2, weekend 2 is more for like the cool, like they're there to just be there and vibe maybe. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I get. Anyway, let me do some more Coachella research and I'll get back to you. Send me things if you have any drama or tea from Coachella. We can do a Coachella debrief when it's actually over. But sorry, that was a panic. I was like, I haven't even updated you on Coachella. Not that I've ever been or seen it or really been but it's like a thing that's happening this week. Anyway, love you guys so much.